my name is Jonathan McKithern. You probably see me around. I'm one of the musicians here on the worship team. I grew up in church. My dad was a music minister at our church. Both of my grandfathers attended that church. They were both deacons. Didn't miss a Sunday. We didn't miss a Wednesday night. We were always there. And that's the way that I grew up. During that, I never really developed a relationship. I never really, sought God out. I went to college. I played music in college. During that time, I kind of lost touch with the church. I did, all sorts of things. I was a rock musician for a while. I developed a dependence on drugs and alcohol. So much so that, it was even too much to be a rock musician. And through the decisions that I made at that time in my life, things got pretty hairy. Ended up having to do a short stint behind bars for a reckless operation while under the influence. I harmed a family, and that was tough. That was tough. But even still going through that, and the fear that was put in me from having to serve time in prison, which was immediately followed after that by a long-term treatment program, there was still a hole. There was still something missing. I think throughout my entire life, I was searching for something, and I looked for it in all the wrong places. Anything that would kind of give me any kind of instant gratification, I chased it, I latched on to it, and it didn't serve me. But whenever I moved here to Baton Rouge, I moved here to go to a treatment center. And during that time, I began to learn things about myself. I didn't get it all at once. In that time, I learned the trade that I now do. I'm an electrician. I finished that program. I continued to go on through life, and I managed to hold it together based off of that fear. But I didn't make any significant changes, and I ended up, going right back to where I started, and got in a very, very bad situation. It became very close to losing everything and everyone in my life. And it was at this time that, I surrendered. I looked to God and I said, whatever it is you want me to do, I'll do it. And I meant it. And I began seeking Him on a daily basis, and I began to have all this fruit blossom in my life, and things began to change. And it's one of the most incredible experiences that I've ever experienced, is just simply by living by God's will, I found peace and freedom and joy, and have been able to grow into the person that I am today. And I seek Jesus on a daily basis. I have a mountain of evidence to support that I can't do life without Him. But, on the other side of that coin, I have a mountain of evidence that shows what He does and how my life improves, and just the advancements that are made, not only in my spiritual life, but in my personal life, my vocation, that are vastly different. If you would have asked me 5 years ago, if I could get it all together and, have exactly what I wanted, the answer that I would have gave would have been selling myself short. I am constantly surprised by the way God moves in my life. I speak to Him on a daily basis, just as I'm speaking to you now. I've come to find out that, it's about, for me, in my experience, it's about a relationship with God. Yeah, I grew up in church and I was, exposed to a lot of things, but I never had the relationship. He wasn't a friend to me. He was, but I didn't I didn't understand it that way. You know, I viewed him as something completely different. And just the power of that relationship and the peace and freedom that come with it are just, they're awe-inspiring. And anybody that's known me for any amount of time before and then now, I mean, they can speak to it as well. And, you know, I owe it all to God. None of this is possible without him. I tried to disprove that, and I couldn't. I believe stories house miracles, and I am a miracle of this house.